I just switched to reverse controls and I'm going to be putting myself to the test and attempt to break 5 world records, starting with a record from Waseem. In his I broke 15 world records video, one of the records was most deaths, and he managed to get 14 deaths. He had done it with Grom in Brawl Ball, but that was almost 3 years ago. So I decided to go in Brawl Ball with Juju, which at level 1 has only 3000 health. And I had to get me 2 mates to basically do a 2v3 while I just rushed towards enemies for the entire game, trying to get as many deaths as possible until the end of overtime. Some games we would find enemies that were so aggressive that the 2v3 was impossible. In other games I would have to go up the entire map to reach the enemies and get killed, which was too slow. On my best games I was getting around 13 deaths. Then I thought of what Waseem said in his video.
We need to make sure no one can ever break this record ever.
But I hadn't given up yet. On the next day, after another series of failed attempts, we faced a Jessie that placed her super in the corner of the map, which I used to get spawn killed for around 1 minute. And in the end, I ended up getting 15 deaths, beating what I thought was the record. But the day after having beaten the record, I remembered about Tribe's 100-hour draft video, where they break world records. And Corey decides to break Waseem's death record right in front of him.
16! Oh my gosh, you're garbage! You died the most times than anybody in the game!
Meaning I had to go back to the drawing board to plan a new strategy to beat this record. I had to beat it. I realized I was wasting a lot of time reaching the enemies when I respawned, and if only there was a brawler that could jump over walls and move faster. And so I decided to change brawler to Miko to save time to get to the enemies. And we had a near to perfect game where I was getting fast deaths from a Dyna, a Mortis and a Buzz Lightyear. The game was coming to an end after I'd done almost 3 minutes and a half of consistent deaths. I was going towards the Mortis to get one more death, but didn't. And I was hoping it was enough to beat the record, but we ended up tying it. This almost made me quit, but at the same time made me realize we were getting always closer to the record. So I decided to try one more day on a different map, where after almost a week of attempting this record, we had finally found our perfect game. I was getting death after death, getting destroyed by Frank's gadget, Griff's super and Cold. And getting a last death with only 2 seconds left, we had finally tied the record again. Okay, no, just joking, we had finally beat it by 1 death. Oh, and while attempting this record, I accidentally broke another record for the fastest death, in just around 2 seconds. Next up, I decided to try beating the record for the fastest game in basketball 2v2, which is 24 seconds. I had a mate playing Mortis while I went Frank. We started off pretty slow, not getting even close to the record, but after lots of attempts, we had our best game yet. The Mortis goes down but manages to shoot just before dying. The ball hit the rim once, making it look like it was going out, but then hits it again, and for some reason, maybe for the ball spin, it turned back and went in the hoop. We then had to take out the enemies, and it was up to me to get the last 3 points. The Mortis passed me the ball and I made the 3-point shot, ending the game at 23 seconds, just 1 second faster than the previous record. Moving on to the trick shot with most bounce, without bounce tiles. The clip I saw with most bounces was 11. But even before seeing that clip, I had already thought of the best possible way of doing this record. Just shooting between a 1 tile space between the goal and the Sprout super. To do this, Sprout had to place the first super attached to the post, and before it broke, place a second super right attached to it, leaving a 1 tile space where I just had to shoot and dash away fast to not get the ball back. Then, as the ball was about to stop, a Colt had to break the post, making the ball go in goal. Looking back at it in slow-mo, I saw it got 12 bounces, beating the previous record by just 1 bounce. And I don't see how it's possible to beat 12 without any glitches or bugs. Now on to the last record, which is most time keeping the ball in Brawl Ball. I decided to go with Miko again. I needed 2 mates to guard me while I just kept the ball throughout the entire game. I started the game using my long jump gadget to get the ball. And for some reason, which I don't remember, I wanted to check the time, and by doing so I lost the ball for like less than 1 second. And apart from that and some lag, it ended up being my best attempt, with around 3 minutes and 26 seconds keeping the ball. After breaking these records, I felt as comfortable as I did with my normal controls, so I guess I can say I mastered reverse controls.